guys, this is Francesca from Under the Covers, and for this week's lifestyle video, I want to continue our road to RT and give you guys some ideas on how you can get the most out of an author signing, including the RT book signing, on a budget. So now we all would like to get every single book that we love signed by every author that we read, and there are many reasons why that can't happen. One of those could just be that you can't afford to buy all those paperbacks and have in your house, and the other thing is space. So now the first thing to consider is the fact that just because you're going to a book signing doesn't necessarily mean that you can only get books signed, and also it is perfectly okay to go up to an author that you love just because you want to meet them and get your picture taken with them, or just the simple fact that you want to meet them in person and be able to talk to them and tell them why you love their books. So if that's all you want to do, just keep in mind that is perfectly okay. You can just go up to a table, talk to an author, check out their books even if you've never read them before. Most authors will have some kind of free swag that you can pick up and you can have that signed, and of course most of them will take pictures with you. So all that being said, there are some ways that you can get things signed that are cost effective and also are friendly for when you're traveling and you just can't lug your whole bookcase with you. So the first idea that I'm going to mention here is something that I personally haven't done, but I know a lot of people do this, and it's to make a pre-printed photo book ahead of time. So what most people will do is use a photo site like Shutterfly, and they will design ahead of time a photo album, have it printed, sent to their home, and bring that with them to the signing. And usually what I've seen people do is they'll either use the book covers or the author picture or a combination of both of those to design each one of the pages. And either they'll do every single author that's at a book signing and then they'll just go up to the ones they want based on time, or they'll just pick and choose the ones that they really want to go up to, and that actually serves as a really neat souvenir, I think, for your experience at that particular event. So the reason why I've never done this is because I find that if I'm gonna have a photo album, I don't want to have it without actually having my picture with the author in it. So the whole idea of pre-printing it doesn't necessarily work for me. However, it might work for you. This is also a pretty inexpensive idea because you can always find coupons at photo sites to have the photo albums printed, and depending on how many pages you need of how many authors and how you design your pages, you can put more than one author in one page. You can make the photo albums bigger or smaller. So there's a lot of options to play with in that, and I think that it's something that's very compact, very small. You can carry it around with you throughout the whole signing, and it's not going to break the bank. So now the next idea is also sort of a scrapbook idea, and it's the one that I used for my first RT that I went to, which was in Chicago. And I wanted to have certain books signed that I knew for a fact that I really needed that specific book signed, so I brought those with me, and I did end up buying a couple other books, but for the most part I wanted to keep the cost down. So what I did is I brought a pad of scrapbook paper in 4x6 size, and I brought one that was a metally, shiny type, and one that was a more plain one, but they were both just plain colors, no prints or anything like that. And basically I just had that. I walked around with that, and whenever I saw an author, even walking around the hallways or at our bar, I had that with me with a Sharpie, and I could get them to sign something for me and take a picture. So as an example of one, this is basically what it would look like. So it's just scrapbook paper, and this is the more metallic type of scrapbook paper that I had the pad, but they're 4x6, so they're easy to put into any photo album, no matter what size pocket pages you have. And then I would just have the author sign. I had a black and a silver Sharpie always with me, and this pad. I took, like I said, two of these with me, one metallic and one more plain, and this worked out really well. I had a ton of these little cards that I could put in a scrapbook after the fact. And so basically after I come home, I will take those autographs and I will print the pictures that I took with the author and any kind of swag that I picked up at the signing, and I will put those in a photo album. Now I don't really do a whole lot of decorating and actual scrapbooking with this type of album just because I really don't have the time, but I do like to have different size pocket pages in the photo album so that I can switch it up and just put different size pictures, different size signatures, because a lot of times an author won't use the whole 4x6, so a lot of times I'll want to cut that down. And sometimes if I'm putting swag especially, I will need a whole page to add my stuff to it. So I like the flexibility of using different pocket pages in my scrapbook. So like I said, I use just regular, I think this is a Project Life album. And what I like about doing something like this is not only am I putting the pictures that I took with the author and having the autographs, but I can also put all my memory kind of pictures, like pictures with my friends, people that I met at the signing or at the event. So it makes it a more complete experience of that particular event or signing. So for me, I really like that. And hopefully you can see this. I don't know if the light is going to mess it up, but so I am able to cut up pictures. So like here I use a 4-pocket photo page, and I put a little note in a Project Life card. I cut up the pictures. I did use the card as well, and this one is a full page. So you can really customize it once you come home, and you can take as long as you need to get it done. Whereas with the one that you're having pre-printed and that you need for the signing, you need to get it done before the signing, and it just has to get done because otherwise you won't have it with you. So I find that this way works better for me because I don't usually have all the time in the world available, especially when I'm planning to go away. Another variation of that I've tried recently is instead of the 4x6s, because I find that a lot of authors will just sign an autograph without actually writing anything on it, is I go with these that are a little bit smaller than a 4x4. So these are actually 3.875 by 3.875 squares, and they have a little bit of a linen feel to them, and like I said, they're just plain colors. So this also works really well, and this is always a choice that I bring with me no matter if I'm doing something else, because I like to have something with me at all times. Like I said, you never know when you're going to run into somebody and want to get an autograph. So at least this is handy, so worst case scenario, I didn't miss out on getting something signed. So another idea that's budget friendly, and it's not something that I've personally done, but I know a lot of people that do this, and it depends on how you want your books to be signed, but a lot of people use book plates. And what that is basically labels, sticker labels that you can just put on your signature page on the book. So you can just have sheets of labels, whether you want to design them a little bit or whether you want them just plain, and you can have them in whatever size that you want. And I'm pretty much just talking about the regular plain Avery labels that you can pick up at any office supply store or Amazon or anything like that. You can have those with you, have authors sign them. You can have an author sign 10 of them. And if you have 10 books at home that you want to stick that on. So the only thing to consider with that is that your book will now have a sticker instead of having the signature right on the page. I know a lot of authors offer signed book plates that they'll mail out for free to fans. So this is something that's not necessarily new. So it depends really on how you feel about having a sticker on your books instead of having the actual book signed. But it's very cost effective and great for space if you're traveling. Another idea is to have something signed where all the signatures are in one place and you can display it somewhere. So a lot of people use their e-reader cover. I would personally only do this if it's an ebook cover that I'm not going to use anymore, meaning I'm just going to display it. So a lot of times I will buy an ebook cover just for that signing and get all the signatures on it, and then you can display it on your bookcase or something like that. So other than an ebook cover, another thing that you can collect signatures on is a tote bag. I've seen a lot of people use poster boards and canvas. These are a little bit more difficult to travel with, so depending whether you're driving to the signing or flying to the signing, you might want to consider that. One thing that I have used for collecting signatures for giveaways is actual scrapbook paper. And what I've purchased is plain white linen scrapbook paper. So this is the size that I usually use, and I have a whole pad of these, so I can just easily pick up one of these and take with me. You could also use a smaller, say an 8x11 sheet of scrapbook paper, and then cut it down, put it in an 8x10 frame when you get home. The 12x18 that I use is a little bit bigger, so depending also how many authors are going to be at the signing, it will depend how much space you need. You can maybe print the logo for the event that you're going to, stick it in the middle ahead of time so that the authors have an idea of where you want them to sign. And you can maybe have them start signing first around the logo and then move to the sides. I would suggest giving them a little bit of guidance so you don't end up with some unbalance as to where the signatures are or how it's going to look. So as far as transportation for something like this, because it's flimsy and you don't want it to get wrinkly or damaged, I would just suggest getting a tube, like a mailing tube, and rolling this in there, and it keeps it nice and protected. You can also use it to walk around the signing with it so that it doesn't get banged up. So in terms of displaying something like that in your library, in your room, or wherever you're going to put it when you get home, if you opt for the option that's like the one that I do, which is a 12 by 18, you cannot put that in a photo album. So keep that in mind. If you want to stick your signature page into a photo album, then you might want to keep the size of what you bring smaller so that it can easily go into your photo album. So maybe like a 12 by 12, or like I said, an 8.5 by 11, you can bring that down to an 8 by 10, put it in a frame. So for the 12 by 18, I found these really inexpensive frames at Target. This is basically what they look like. They're just MCS tabletop and wall decor by design. And like I said, it's plastic. It just has a very skinny metal frame, and it does have backing to hang it. I have most of mine just leaning against the top of my bookshelf, but these in this size, I believe they're about $10, so it's kind of an inexpensive option for displaying something of that size. Another thing you may want to consider is look into getting your ebooks autographed. I do believe that that is an option. I haven't personally used it, but I've seen people that do use it go up to an author, and there is, I don't know if it's part of the Kindle app or if it's another app that you have to get, and the author can just actually sign directly on your screen, and that signature will be on your ebook. So another option that I wanted to give you guys, and this is going to be my last one, is one that I just used at the last signing that I went to, which was a Polycon in 2017, and it's called a Smash Book. So basically what this is a notebook. It's a spiral bound notebook inside of here, and it's made up with scrapbook paper. So it's just spiral bound different scrapbook papers. The theme of the paper inside the Smash Books, I think it goes based on the color of the spine. So each color spine will have a different theme of papers inside of it. What I liked about this is that instead of having the expense of buying the pads of the small scrapbook paper and then having to buy a photo album and having to buy the pocket pages and then maybe needing some background scrapbook paper, all of that adds up. So with the Smash Book, I can just have the author sign directly on a piece of scrapbook paper, and all I have to do is literally print my picture, stick on any swag that I picked up, and it's done. So I haven't actually gone through and printed my pictures for this event, but basically I would tell the authors on what page to sign, and I still have space to add my picture with the author, and in this case the swag is already on here. Depending on the author, they'll just take more space, less space. So as you go through, you'll be able to determine whether you want another author to sign the next page, or if they took up a lot of space on this page, then I would leave this page for putting the picture and stuff like that, and then move on to the next one. Now I also left it with the plastic that it comes in while I was at the signing, so that I could tuck in swag that I was picking up. So at the back, as you can see, I was sticking the swag in the back, but I was actually just using the protective plastic that it comes with. It does have a pocket here, but I found this pocket to be a little tight to stick things in, especially when you're at a signing, you want to move fast, you just want to throw stuff in. So I kept it in the plastic so that I could gather all this stuff in it, and then once I'm ready, when I'm home, I find that this will probably eliminate some of the work that I had to do with actually putting a scrapbook together, but it would serve the same purpose. I can still add my pictures with friends, I can still add the pictures with the authors, I can still add the swag. I just have less steps in terms of putting this together. And I could easily just have a ton of these because they don't take up a lot of space to store them. So hopefully some of these ideas are helpful to you, and I hope that you enjoy the next book signing that you attend. If you have any questions or if you have any other comments, just leave them down below. I would love to see what other ideas people are using. Have a great time, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.